Hi, my name is Mark Eli, and I'm tying my shoelace. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you a story about one of the guys I worked down the range with, Emigdio Sandoval, and the obstacles he's encountered and the trouble he had because of the radiation at TTR. Emilio has 6 months to live. He's got brain cancer. And this story, this interview, is very touching, and it moved me a lot. I hope it means something to you.
When I heard about TTR, it was identified as a classified project, so you really didn't know really who to talk to. And once I talked to people that had the same color badge, then took me about 6 months, and you're still learning what's going on because not everything will be right. And you will know about 6 months what you are really doing.
When we went to the flight surgeon, we go in and we meet one individual, and it was very limited, and they could only do a little bit of stuff. But if it was anything that required extensive diagnostics, they sent you to Nellis.
Right, that's what it was.
But we were on the range, and we went in, and if it was an emergency and acute care, we were treated on site. And those medical records that were recorded on the site. And because we were in this classified location, those medical records recorded on the site were classified.
Exactly.
And they were not a part of our military medical record, even though we got treatment, nor were we aware that these medical records were not going to be ever join our military records.
I don't think right now anything that would identify any radiation, you will not see it.
Oh, you won't see any treatment. You won't even see a treatment for a sprained ankle.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah.
So
the only thing you'd see, just an appointment. That was it. And
right.
I thought it was normal, Mark, Eli, and you know, they don't tell you what's going to happen, and you have to take care of yourself. And to get a medical appointment, it takes almost a day or two, and it might be 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night because the medical, whoever it was, worked on the 4450th, which is the other asset that was on the control with. They work night, we work day. I don't know. I had some kind of problem to where it was not solved, and I went to the Nellis Air Force Base and I told them what's going on, and they told me that it was PTSD, and I said, I don't know, something is happening, and they gave me about right there. I retired in '95, and in '97 they gave me a substance to where I would behave, but it was uh, people that have mental disorders. They were giving it to me, and why, I don't know, but I took it, and I took it for 3 or 4 years, and I really didn't like it, and I'm still taking it. Well, I wanted a letter that I would be safe to drive and move around, things like that. And what had happened is whenever you get a seizure, you lose basically your breath, you lose, you cannot really get air in your esophagus or anything. Well, so I didn't know what was happening, and I went into shock. And when I couldn't breathe, it took a while. I laid down and I thought, what is going on? That was in 2014. Actually, it happened in 2023, and no, 2013. And then I told I went to Nellis Air Force Base in NASCAR season in March. Just check me out, make sure I'm all right. And when I was there, the admission officer said, we have problems for that. And I'm like, why? Oh, because I bit my tongue when I went to Caesar. And I said, is it normal? He goes, why didn't you come in right away? And I said, well, I'm okay. And then in a little bit, the admission clerk said, wheelchair for a patient. I'm standing up and I'm thinking, there's other people that really need help. And opened the door and said, are you this man? And I said, yeah. He goes, you right now, sit down. And I'm like, why? And sit down. And I went in there just to get a letter. And then Dr. Brown worked there, said, how long have you had it? And I'm like, oh, about a week ago. Why? He goes, you mind to take your clothes off and sit down? And we're going to take a CAT scan. I said, what is that? He goes, the brain. I said, I'm all right. I'm all right. He goes, well, we'll see. We'll see. And they gave me some chemicals with ink contrast and non-ink contrast. I've never had that. And I felt dizzy. And they moved me to a CAT scan. And the CAT scan people said, if there's something wrong, we'll call the doctor, but you feel you're all right? Yeah, basically. Any jewelry, nothing like that. So I started lying down, and the machine stopped in the middle. And I said, are we done? No. And then you hear Dr. Brown, Dr. Brown. And I said, stay there. And then Dr. Brown came in and said, let's do it one more time. And I'm thinking maybe something's wrong. And right away, it took about 30 minutes, and he shipped it off. And right away, in about an hour, Dr. Brown says, I have an ambulance coming in for you. And I said, what? He goes, I don't know what it is, but there's something in your brain, and it's just the possibility that uh, you're not going to probably, I don't want to tell you this, but I'm the first doctor, you're probably not going to make it. And I'm thinking, what is it? He goes, there's a massive that it's been there for about 10, 15 years. Well, actually about 9, when they measured it. And I said, there's an ambulance coming in from University Medical Center going to Las Vegas. And in about 30 minutes, they shipped me to UMC with my records. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And when I got to UMC, they were waiting for me and said, you have the neurologist right away and look at the records that I did in Nellis Air Force Base and said, it's not looking good. And I said, well, why? He goes, Mr. Sandman, there's cases that have arose different like that. And anybody in your family had ever, no, never. He says, do you have a will and this and that? I'm like, why? And the neurologist and the other people that are studying from UCLA medical school were there, and other people that came in with brain and all that came in and said, we have the UCLA students that are studying brain waves and brain tumors and things like that, and you have a tumor. I'm like, what? He goes, to they told me that the tumor, they showed me the tumor and it showed a rat's tail. And what it is, Mark, is a rat's tail connected to your artery, and it was living off from the artery. And that's why it was to try to take that off, probably 90%. I would be quadriplegic. And they told me that was on a Sunday. And on Monday, they were getting ready to do it at 8 o'clock because it was getting ready to pretty much explode. It was so big, it was like almost an orange. Uh, I didn't really feel it, but that's why the headaches would come in. And I'm thinking, wow, if I'm going to do that here, I'd rather just go home. And no, you cannot do that. And I said, why? And that needs to be taken out. Otherwise, you're this thing is ready to explode. And anything you do, it's going to be cancer, whatever it is, it's going to be all over your body. And I said, well, if it's going to happen, then I just want to go see my mom and dad at that moment. I left my family here, and I went to a Greyhound station. Took me 2 days, and I headed to Houston. The doctor said, I'm sorry that you come here. The place is called MD Anderson Cancer Center in Texas, University of Texas, and said, Mr. Sandoval, uh, you're thinking about dying, and we don't like people that come in here and they are gonna die because they have something in their brain. I said, Doctor, Professor, that is what they told me uh, because it was gonna die in Las Vegas or anywhere because I only had TRICARE at that moment, and we don't want nobody to be operated. And we'll talk to you later in 2 weeks. So I was referred to a psychology. I said, I am really crazy now. I mean, they're saying a psychology and a psychologist and all that, and said, this guy is whatever it was. He was not getting ready to get that tumor out. So I went to the next day, talked to a psychologist, and said, Mr. Sandman, you think that you are going to die because somebody told you you're going to die and you really want to die. I said, we don't want people like that. I said, what we want is somebody that relates that you are going to make it and you need to get the superhuman that you have, whether it's religion, whether it's family, whether it's yourself or somebody, witch doctor, whatever. You need to think that you are not going to die because by being operated on somebody that's going to die 100%, you're not going to make it. And they learn that when the brain thinks that it's going to die. And in 1 week, I named a brain a different name. I did everything for my brain, and I really was not a Bible or any religious. And right away, I really changed my mind. And the reason when one doctor tells you that possibility you are going to die is they don't see anything with you that you are going to live. And I'm Catholic, so in Las Vegas, I got the last. They blessed me, and a couple of nuns came in and gave me this is what death does, and look at it as it's your time, you're this and that, and that's what I took, and I reversed everything that I am well, and I started UCLA. What they're doing now for any people were dying. I mean, we have senators that are McCain died, Kennedy died, little people. I mean, Senate people in the government that really don't know what's going on, and they die because that's what they're gonna do because there's no reason to say I am gonna live. So anyway, I told the doctor, I said, I went back, Mr. Salmon, how you doing? I'm so ready that I really want to play a guitar. wow, you operate me and cannot be awake, and I'm ready to do it, and I'm ready to tackle whatever it's not. I've done it all the time, and I can, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something like that, that I can feel that even though you have cancer or you have go through something, that's what we're looking at, because we only use 33 to 34% of the brain, and we're not using it. And when you do that, I feel good. When can we operate? Wow, I'm started getting, instead of bad news in Las Vegas, I'm started getting good news, and a possibility that 100% went to lesser and lesser, and I feel good. Maybe 60% I will, and there were things that happened right now. I mean, I lost my voice, I lost some of the strength, my muscles, a lot of things that had happened, but I'm still alive, and I said, let's do it. And my mom and dad they're still here. And in about a week at 6 a.m., I was in the surgery, and I thought I was my mom's blessing that I want to live. I don't want to die. And the first time that I really, really wanted to live, I was 52 years old. There's no reason to die for any cancers that you have. There is something, a moonshot or something that you can take. And at my wife was in Las Vegas. I didn't want to talk to her because of what was happening. I didn't want nobody to take care of me, quadriplegic and all that. And at 11 o'clock, the doctor came out and said, "Are you the parent of Mr. Sandmans and this?" We have a situation to where that tumor is rated number 5, which is, they didn't know what 1 and 5. 1 is you want to have a 1 tumor or cancer. Like stage 4, 5 is the highest. So I had a stage 5 tumor, and to get a stage 5, it basically it's like acid. And where did I get this? And what causes that? And this and that. They really couldn't think. So anyway, I was the doctor said, we have one possibility. We're gonna try to take the bone. We're gonna try to attack the tumor. Hopefully, uh, it will deflate, and but he's probably gonna lose some of the things. And well, my mom said, just get him alive. And it took another 4 hours from 6 until like 3 o'clock afternoon. I wake up, and I was didn't know who I was. There's people looking at me and said, "You are an MD Anderson," and hello, my name is. So Mark, I couldn't talk. I just couldn't talk. I lost everything, and I said, and I started crying. And the doctor was there and said, "My name is Amy. Remember I told you that when you might get that. What is my name? I want you to know what is my name." I didn't even know it was the doctor. And then I could not even grab my hand or nothing. It was, I was, if I want to be quadriplegic, then I was. And I didn't want that. And there was so much pressure, Mark, that there was blood coming out on this side. You have pictures, Mark. You have pictures right away what happened. There was blood coming out, Mark, that I was so stressed that why is this happening? And the doctor said they called condition silver or something like that. That one person in the emergency room that just got out, and the highest level they have, three other people come in, and what's going on? There's blood coming out, and I felt the blood. It was hot, and I'm thinking that is how we're gonna die. I think right now, and I couldn't speak. she came one more time, and she basically just banged me, and she was crying. What is my name? What is my name? The anesthesiologist was there, and I know what her name, but how can I do it? How can I do it? And she was crying, and she goes, if you don't do it, you are gonna be what you are. Do it. And she looked at me, she was crying, I was crying, and I said, how am I gonna do it? Mark, I did. I mean, it was so hard that how the strength came out. And I said, aim. She goes, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Right away, therapy. And I'm thinking, I guess I did it. And right away, I got speech therapy like day number, no, 6 hours afterwards. Learn what time it was. And it took a long time because you'll see people that have brain surgery or uh, seizures or things like that that won't talk or they lose their arms. And that's the end, pretty much, if you don't train. But anyway, I had to learn.
Now you found out later that you know what the cause of that tumor was. And when did you find out what the cause of the tumor was?
In the readings that UCLA does, the people that are affected to atomic, nuclear, things like that, I went to the VA and it said I was exposed to radiation and this, and that, whatever this time, denied. Why? Because I was not born in 1954, and wherever any atomic blast somewhere, I was not exposed, so denied. So
to this day, you're still denied for
yeah,
your cancer, and that even though that the doctors and everyone know the cause of the cancer is radiation, you have been denied because somebody cannot see in your medical treatment records while you were in the service that you were exposed to radiation. They keep going back before 1954. They actually go to 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. And then they move forward in time and they talk about a couple other nuclear accidents that occurred, and one of them being in Spain and a nuclear cleanup in Spain in 1957. But
and I
regardless,
wasn't born.
our area was classified top secret. And our people did not know that we were on a nuclear testing ground. We did not know that. In the medical treatment records that we had on site were classified and were not a part of our military records. So anything that you might have done, you might have forgot. You might remember some, but some you might forgot. You never have the opportunity of getting those records and taking those records and going to your civilian doctor and saying, here, this is what was done to me while I was in the service. This is what my treatment was. Here, Mr. Doctor or Mrs. Doctor, this is my medical history. And because of our classified assignment, we were not given those, and we were denied access to our own health and our own treatment. And that treatment, lack of knowledge and we were doing it as patriots, as members of a country who loves our country and willing to give our life. But this right here, this exists outside of common sense. This is where common sense would say, you've done your job as a patriot. We had the back of the United States. Now we want the United States to have our back. Give us our medical records. Let us give those records to the doctors, and let our doctors see the environmental report from 1975 in Tonopah that shows.
I don't think they'll find it.
Well, brother, I have in a minute, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you those reports. And I'm going to show you the radiation there. And I'm going to show you the Department of Energy report that I have on my computer. I'm going to show you the 1988 report that was done on my from the Department of Energy while you and I were both there. I'm going to show you that the well that you and I were drinking from was contaminated with tritium, radioactive water. I'm going to show you that we were bathing in it, we were drinking it, we were showering, we were washing our hands with it, we were all the time in it, and we're drinking this radioactive water all the time. Well, we're also out in the soil getting the contamination on our uniform and our clothes. We were getting on an airplane on a Friday night. We were flying home with contamination on our clothes. We would go into our family, we'd take off our clothes, and we would contaminate our family. We were not told that, and they knew that, and they did not tell us, just so we could tell our wife and our children, please, take off our clothes. Let's get new clothes on, mitigate the risk. But they didn't do that. That is not in the honor of our country. That is not common sense. That is a cruel and unjust. And that is a crime. That has nothing to do with military. That's a crime. So you and I as individuals, we're still patriotic to our country. We still love the flag. We would die for that flag. But the person who made that decision was not representing the United States. They were representing what they thought their job was, and they were wrong.
We really couldn't talk about it. In 2013, Mark, I mean, I go to bladder, I can go to kidney stones, I lost my foot. I sent you a picture of that. Not a foot, some toes. I have diverticulosis. They went and operated on my stomach. You don't get that unless you're 87 or 80. You don't get that at 49, at 48. Things were happening more and more, but I could not explain that the cause of that. And you know what?
What?
Every 6 months, there's possibility that it could happen again. So whoever is listening to this and somebody gives you every 6 months, you're going to live or might not live because there could be another recurrent. I don't have enough money to, even though I have TRICARE and the VA is denied. Where am I going to get the money to do that every 6 months until the rest of my life? You laugh that you're going to live to 78, you're going to live to 80, looking at you, what are you going to look like when you turn 80, things like that. Let me tell you, I have 6 months, even though almost stage 4 cancer, things like that. It's a different life. No more compensation. My family, my father had a Chevrolet. He took care of it. And it was a 2013. He sold it. He paid cash. He sold it. And he comes back to MD Anderson and says, there's cost a lot of money. I have to pay 20%. He goes, oh, I have some money here. Oh, Dad. And I never told you I love you. I love you now. And gave me $20,000. I went to the financial services. They helped me out from the rest. I felt good for the next 6 months. Good. And I didn't want to tell me where he got the money. He, at that time, 79 years old, he sold the only transportation that he had. And I said, why'd you do that? The responsibility's there, Mark. And everybody that knows that they have, people start putting money, compensation, everything else that needs to be done to keep you alive. And want to keep my dad alive now, without some that he sold, and then he relates to me that it's okay. It's not okay. It's okay. Find out uh, some of my mom and dad, they eat limited income, and some of the money my mom was saving. Also, she had $10,000 on the side for. That's why we live in golden years. Another 10,000, come back to Las Vegas and say, here's another 10,000. I'm like, what did you sell now, Mom? And this and that. She goes, I had enough money and to pay off because they were going to take my home.
Radiation. The tricky thing about radiation is you can't see it. It's in the soil, and it lays in the soil and it seeps through the ground. There's water tables underneath. Between 1963 and 1992, out of the 800 nuclear explosions that were done underground, 2/3 of them were done at a water table, at or in a water. The radiation went ahead and affected the water by creating tritium. Tritium has a half-life of 12.5 years. Plutonium-239 has a half-life of 24,100 years. Plutonium-240 has a half-life of over 6,500 years. So as tritium gets into the water, and tritium is very bad for you, it's a alpha particle, gets into your body and changes your DNA. And we were drinking it in wells number 6 and 7 at TTR. Dave Crete, the invisible enemy, he is a champion for the Tonopah Test Range ionizing radiation story. I want to thank him for what he's doing in his effort of his team. It means a lot to a lot of veterans.